Welcome back to this week's edition of Inside the Hive. I'm Jordan Taylor. Today's guest is head men's basketball coach Kyle Brummett. Coach, you had a huge win last night. Tell us something about it.
Yeah, we got off to a little bit of a slow start last night, but we're at that point in the season when you got to find a way. And it was close. Wasn't always pretty, but we were able to squeak one out last night.
You mentioned coming back and everything. It was a tale of two different teams last night. What made you guys play so much better in the second half?
Well, we've got a mix of younger guys and older guys, and it's been a battle throughout the season, whether or not we're going to get off to a good start at the beginning of games and at the beginning of second halves. Last night we did some things to try to adjust to Manchester's defense. They have a 6'10" guy in the middle, which makes it tough. And some of those adjustments, I think, bogged us down a little bit. Our guys were thinking too much rather than just playing. We came out in the second half, we were a little bit more aggressive, and some guys made some shots that made it a lot easier to just kind of move and flow, and the second half looked much more like what we wanted it to look like.
We've talked in the past about trying to find help for Logan Wolfram not being the only answer. Last night, Anthony Brown seemed to have the hot hand. Was it just his night, or how did that go for him?
Well, he came out really aggressive right from the start. You know, we as we just said, we were a little slow offensively, but I think Anthony got some really good shots early in the game, and they just didn't go down. If he'd have made those shots, I think it would have taken a lot of pressure off some other guys, and those are the shots we want Anthony to take. He's a 1,000-point scorer. He's a senior. He's a guy that needs to lead our offense. I mean, he's a scoring-type player. So, we need him to be aggressive. He's going to have to be a guy that's, between 14 and 16 points over these last 5 games for us to continue to win and position ourselves to have some success as we go forward.
Speaking of the last 5 games, 3 of your next 5 games are teams that are ahead of you to get into the conference tournament. What are you feeling about these next 5 games?
Well, you can't really do anything about the schedule. You got to play the schedule that the league hands out. And, we got off to a slow start in our league right in December, and it just happened that those early games were against the teams that are at the top of the league. That continued a little bit in early January, and we kind of dug ourselves a hole. You're right. Now, at the end of the year, we have the teams that we have to beat right here in front of us. And we've played up and down against those teams. Saturday against Mount St. Joe, we were able to go down there and get a road win the first time we played them. Hopefully, with these games and these teams right here in front of us, and then also the majority of them being at home, 3 of the 5 being at home, is going to allow us to continue to play well, maybe build a little momentum to steal 1 or 2 road games as we close out the season as well.
So we've talked about playing better and everything. One person that's really been playing better is Anthony Barnum. Last night, kind of undersized against the mentioned 6'10" player, but played really well on the defensive end. Talk about his efforts.
Well, he's kind of our defensive leader, and it's we kind of threw him into that role as the season started. With him being a freshman and there's being so many other adjustments, but Anthony can guard a lot of different type players. He's also probably our best help defender, and he's going to develop into one of the better shot blockers in our league. He loves that role. It doesn't put a whole lot of pressure on him offensively. It allows him to play kind of loose. He has played really well. One of the things that has hurt us and that we've struggled with is that we've kind of built this role for him, and then he was battling some injuries. I mean, he's missed 5 out of the last 7 games, I believe. And, our team has really started to rely on him. You're as a coach, you're hoping that your team doesn't rely on one guy, but he brings a lot of emotion to the game, and he brings a defensive presence that we struggle when he's not out there. He's been really good for us in that regard.
One thing we've noticed throughout the course of the season is that most of your players are undersized and everything, but you see that passion, that work ethic. Last night, freshman Mason Roth dove for a ball to kept drive going. What is it about your team's work ethic that you like?
Well, it's kind of what Division III athletics is all about. You're playing for the love of the game. You're playing because you care about your teammates. You're playing because you're a competitor. And, we talk about that all the time. We talk about that in practice. We talked about that in our off-season stuff. And it's been really up and down. I think part of that is a product of our youth, them not necessarily understanding how tough it's going to be on a night-in, night-out basis. I've been really happy with our effort and our enthusiasm at home, but there again, that's something that wavers a little bit when we go on the road. But you're right. Last night, I mean, there was a number of times that we could have given in and taken a step backwards, but we just continued to fight, and our will probably was the one thing that allowed us to squeak out the win at the end.
So speaking of your last games of the season, you have Mount St. Joe on Saturday. What are you looking for in that game?
Well, like I said, we got a good road win at Mount St. Joe the last time we played them. They're interesting. They're actually one of the smaller teams in our league, so they spread you out and run a lot of the Princeton-style offense, which will play a little bit to our advantage without having a whole lot of size in the middle. You got to guard the three-point line when you play them. They're one of the top teams in the league as far as three-pointers made. And because they shoot so many threes, there's a lot of long rebounds. So we're going to have to rebound it a little bit better than we have in the last couple games.
All right, thanks for coming down, Coach. For Inside the Hive, I'm Jordan Taylor.